What is going on, everybody? Today we're looking at Wave 2 of the Mattel Street Sharks figures. So this is pretty cool. We get the remaining two brothers of our main Street Sharks, where we get Streex, which looks pretty awesome as the Tiger Shark. Looks pretty cool. He's got some claws, some roller blades there on his feet as well. Of course, straight out of the box with the cage design that we saw from the first wave as well. We can push on the back to make his mouth move. He'll have a special move as well. As you see, he's got combat claws as it's labeled there. And then, of course, the roller skates, and we can spin around, see a little bit of the Street Shark story there on the back. Of course, more of the figures when we're looking at some of the effects he can do and a little bit of the story there if you want to read more about Streex. But of course, I'll go into their story. So we got Streex as well as Big Slammu. So again, the remaining two brothers we need. So he's a big whale shark. Looks pretty awesome there with super slam fist. Looks awesome in his cage. Of course, you can press on his fin and make his mouth open as well. And we get his effects on the back with a little bit of his story there if you can read that. So pretty awesome, like I said, to continue with our brothers. So we got the four main Street Sharks already, which is awesome. And then we get our bad guy of Dr. Piranoid, which is awesome. We get him. So we get there with his face. It looks kind of weird. He's got like an eye patch with a clam on it. It's funny. And then this big mech suit, which looks pretty cool. All sorts of gadgets and things going wrong with him. And he has a button on the back that'll switch his head around so it turns like the big piranha face there. So that is pretty cool. And he has a spring-fired spear gun. So a little gun down in there and a hook claw in the other hand. And we'll spin around again, see his effects there. We can see spinning head and his claw, and then a little bit of his story right down in there for you. So pretty cool to get this. So like I said, finishing off our Street Sharks is awesome with our last two brothers, and then getting our bad guy is awesome. So nice assortment for Wave 2 here. So let me get these open out of the box, and we'll take a look at them together. Well, let's start off with Streex, who was Bobby Bolton Jr., and he was transformed into a tiger shark when the four Bolton brothers were gene slammed by Dr. Paradigm. Now, he was considered the cool brother and self-proclaimed ladies' man, but he's into extreme sports like parachuting, snowboarding, and street hockey. So he looks cool here with the tiger shark design, so you can tell with the tiger stripes. So he's got this nice blue body, looks like a real like classic shark design. Reminds me of like Bruce from Finding Nemo with the lighter bluish gray sort of color, more gray here in the center and on the nose. Nice big smile there with all the teeth, the nice white teeth with the gums all around it. Then, like I said, those purple tiger stripes on top, going back even to the fin and down his arms as well. Look pretty cool. We can see his nice eyes in there. Then we go down, he's got some yellow pants on. They have a nice like texture and design to it. Some knee pads and stuff with his inline skates or roller blades. So I like that he's got that. And with those, he can stand on them. And of course, they have the wheels so he can roll around as well. So that's pretty nice. Love that design. And then he also has what I guess like fingerless gloves with his claws sort of sticking at him. So that's pretty cool. And there you can see his ripped up back with all the muscles there that he's got. So he looks pretty cool here. Now he has, of course, his inline skates, or as the box labeled them, finline skates. And then, of course, he also has claws and his bite as his powers. Now, movement-wise, we can do the arms, so the arms will come up to 90 and rotate all the way around. We get the elbow joint, so the single elbow joint, which doesn't have much of a joint there, it bends there, so just a little bit, like barely even to 90, especially on him there. If you kind of force it, it gets more up to 90, and of course, there's some rotation in that joint as well. Then we go down to the wrist, that'll twist around and flex back and forth. Then we can go to their ab crunch, or I guess twist at the waist, so he'll twist all the way around. Go down to the hips, that can move up a little, so pretty up close to 90 there, and then out to the side as well. He can pretty much do the splits there with his hips, kind of got to push him back up as well. Then we get the single knee joint. Now this is where we start to get some issues, barely any move, so just a little bit, like maybe 45-degree angle there is all you get, and it'll twist around as well. And then of course he should have more feet movement, but with his inline skate designs, he's not going to have much, so he'll be different from the others in that way. And then of course we also get his effect where you press on the fin to open up the mouth, so there his mouth can open, so you can press it up there, which is pretty nice. So get the big bite in there, which is pretty cool. So it works out pretty well. It's kind of like all the other ones, just like the Mo2 Origin stuff. Not a whole lot of movements in their joints. I wish they could have better, and they're similarly designed to the Mo2 figures as well. But it still works. It's like the 90s figures. You don't need a whole lot of movement or anything for them. But we do get some accessories. So he's already got everything. He's got already built on him. So like you can't switch his feet out or anything. But he does have some claws. So we get these longer claws that we can put on. So let's switch his hands out with these. So there, Streex has those claws now on his hand, so he can be trying to attack with those, which is pretty cool. They're just like longer nail claws, whatever. Look pretty decent. I don't really care for them too much, but they're fine the way they are. Like I said, just adds more to them, like danger with the sharp claws on there. So he looks pretty cool with that. And then the only other thing they come with, which all of them will come with, I'll just show this one. Of course, we get the shark cage as well that we could put him in. Obviously, if I had his arms down, could slide him down in there. So we get the shark cage design, just like we got with the first one. Has the little hook up top that you can hook up if you want. You can also pop this all apart and connect it up with all of the other ones, so you make like big cages with them. So we now have 6 of them total, so we could probably build a pretty big cage. But that's really all there is for Streex. That's the thing when these figures don't really get a whole lot with them. But I like his design. He's one of the coolest looking ones. I love the inline skates, and then his tiger shark design looks pretty cool overall for Streex. And then we get Big Slammu, which is our last Street Shark and our 4th Bolton brother. This is Coop Bolton, and he was the youngest and the strongest of all the Bolton brothers. And he was gene slammed with a whale shark, so he's a whale shark here. And he was formerly a football player, and as Slammu, he has a seismic slam attack where he creates an earthquake by hitting the ground with his fist, so that's going to be his effect. So it looks decent. I like the overall design of him, like especially from the side, I think it looks cool. But from front on, he just looks kind of dorky. Like he looks like a weird cartoon character that has like a really big nose and then just has like a big like cheesy grin smile to it, so it kind of looks weird for that. So like I said, from the side looks cool, but from straight on he looks kind of dork, but he looks cool overall. So I love how he's got the little silver designs on his head, nice brown color for most of his body, has more of a cream color here around his mouth and on his chest and all that, and like the big arms there, so he's got big long arms. Of course he's got to slam the ground, so they're kind of longer for there. Got yellow bands around his wrist there with his fist hands. Then we go to his outfit, which as I said, he's a former football player, so he has football design. So he's got the football pants that are all white, but you can see like the padding and the thighs and the belt around the waist, all that stuff looks, like football player with a red stripe going down the leg. Then he's got some like the athletic socks going up there, covering his legs all the way down to the football cleats there. So nice white cleats, you can tell because they have the little spikes on the bottom of, and then the red stripes on the sides of those as well. So he looks pretty decent overall. Again, nice big jacked ripped up character here that looks pretty awesome. Like I said, just from the front looks kind of dorky. Now we'll do his movements, which should be the same as all the others. So his arm can come up and rotate. Now, of course, this is the arm with the effects, so we'll do this one. So it'll rotate around there. We get the elbow joint, so the single elbow joint. Then it's to 90 with the rotation. And then we get the wrist that'll twist all the way around and hinge back and forth. Then we'll go to his twist at the waist, so he'll twist all the way around there. Then we go to the hips that'll come up that far, so not up to 90, but just that far, and out to the side again, not far from doing the splits. Of course, the hips that are kind of drop down, you got to push back. Then we get the single knee joint, which the knees don't bend very far, once again, so about 45 with some rotation in it. And then we can go down to the foot with that'll rock back and forth and twist side to side. So again, not bad for him. He doesn't have nearly as well of movements as Streex did, but overall he still works out fine, as long as he stands up and doesn't have any issues. That's all that really matters with him. And then of course we do also get his mouth, so we have his fin on the back that we can move his mouth there, so he can make his mouth open there, which he's got a nice big mouth, so open to really chomp on even different characters if you want to have him biting on him there. And then of course we get his fist slam effect, so we get his arm that you lift up, it'll slam back down, so it has like that design into it, so he can slam on the ground. Of course can't really get it, there he goes, and he'll cause like an earthquake in the ground just by slamming on the ground there. So that is pretty cool. Again, just adding in that effect for him is awesome. Now he unfortunately doesn't come with any effects because there's nothing for him to really come with, and all his powers are built into him, so don't really need any extra accessories. But overall he's pretty cool. Like I said, not my favorite. I like the design. Like I said, from the side here looks cool, but just straight on looks too dorky. And then he's just not overall my favorite. Like I said, I definitely like Streex much more because he stands out more compared to the others. But like I said, that gives us our last Bolton brother, so we can now add all our Street Sharks in here. So that completes our Street Sharks with Ripster, Jab, Streex, and Big Slammu. So really cool to get the 4 main Street Sharks already out of 2 waves. So that is just awesome to complete our main characters there. So awesome to be able to add these last 2 into the collection. And that leaves us with Dr. Piranoid, which is Dr. Luther Paradigm. Now, he was a genetic engineer that wanted to turn the world into mutants and created the Street Sharks. But during an experiment, he accidentally crossed his DNA with a piranha, turning himself into Dr. Piranoid. And he got webbed hands and feet with a piranha face, and his appearance will change depending on the situation he's in. And he also wears a power suit that we see him in here. So it looks pretty cool. So there we get the face of Dr. Piranoid, or Dr. Paradigm as it is there. So the human-like face. face. Weird how his mouth is open like that though, and I love how he's got the eye patch with the like clamshell on it. Looks pretty decent there. And of course I already showed you in the box where you push the button and we'll switch the face around, so I'll do that in a second. But then we get his big suit, so he's got this big like chest piece up on here. I love the color of this bright like neon yellow color. Looks pretty cool with all sorts of gadgets and sort of designs and stuff, like a little tow hook here. Love how it's got even like a fin design on it. That's pretty neat. Of course the button that we push to switch around. He's got a big mechanical arm here, so it's got like a spear that'll shoot out, and little like ray there as well that's kind of on it. That's pretty cool. But normal hand on the other side, although it's kind of like rubbery. I think that's supposed to be the suit design, but it's got, you know, like this weird texture to it. And then the suit continues down, so it's just like a deep diver suit sort of thing is what it looks like how it's got the chains, the big zipper on it, which is funny. He's got knee pads there in the yellow design as well on the bottom of the boots, so that's pretty neat design. You can see all the texture and stuff, especially there on the back where like the armor is attached onto it, so it looks pretty decent overall for the figure. Now of course we can't really move the head, but we can push the button to get that to switch around. So there it is now as the Piranha version, as Dr. Piranoid. So he's got the big piranha mouth with all the teeth open, his one crazy eye, and his eye still covered up there, so you can switch between those two if you want. But then we'll go to the arm, so the shoulder on this side will come up that far, about 45, of course rotate around, and then it has like an elbow joint design, so it will bend back and forth there. And then this does have a button on it to shoot off this bottom spear, so we can press on that and it'll spring shoot that out. So that's pretty cool that we get that effect. So we have that to play around with. But we can go to the other arm that'll come up. This arm is really stiff. We'll come up to 90 and rotate around. Then we get the elbow joint again, bend there to 90 with the rotation in it. Wrist will twist around and flex back and forth. Then we can go to the ab crunch. So he actually has an ab crunch under his arm here, so he'll crunch back and forth and twist all the way around. Then we go down to the hips, that'll come up towards 90 and out to the side, you know, that far, close to doing splits. Then down to the knee joint, we'll bend that far again, about to 45, has some twist in there as well. And then down to the foot, that'll rock back and forth and twist side to side. So decent movements overall. Nice that he has like that ab crunch in there and everything. Of course, no issues with getting him to stand or anything like that. So that's all pretty cool. Now, accessory wise, he comes of course with the gun that's already attached onto him, but he also comes with this hook hand. So this attachment we can put on his other hand with this nice big hook there, which is cool. So let's put this on. So there he's got the hook as well. So he's got that big hook that he can grab onto, so he can hook people and also shoot him with the spear with his other hand. So that looks pretty cool overall for Dr. Piranoid. Now, the only thing we really have to go with is one of his minions of Slash. So this was from the first wave there. So we now have Dr. Piranoid with one of his minions. So that is pretty cool overall for him. Looks pretty decent. Not the coolest figure. I definitely like the Street Sharks more, but it's cool just to get our main bad guy once again. So we got finished out our wave of Street Sharks and already got our main bad guy. So that is really cool. So nice to have him in the collection. Well, that's it for Wave 2 of our Mattel Street Sharks figures, where we got Streex, Big Slammu, and Dr. Piranoid. All three are really cool, like I said, especially with our two Street Sharks, finishing out our Street Sharks team. And of course, I like Streex most of all. And then Dr. Piranoid, our main villain from the series, already in the collection. So very cool to get these three figures today. Let me know what you thought of them down in the comments. And are you picking up the Street Shark set? But if you liked the video, leave me a like and hit that subscribe button to see more. But I want to thank you all for watching. I hope you all stay awesome out there, and I'll see you in our next review.